Representative Steve Scalise was on Fox News and he was talking about a Twitter debate that he was engaging in with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez over the issue of taxes. Now, AOC wants a higher marginal tax rate. A Republican like Scalise has no interest in that. And apparently, while they were going back and forth, some people on Twitter, this is crazy, I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced this, were rude to Representative Scalise.
No, on Twitter?
They said mean things to him.
That's gotta be a first.
They were very mean.
Hey, we broke that story here first.
We did. I mean, I can't even believe it. Now, I don't want to put words in Representative Scalise's mouth, so why don't we hear from him on Fox News?
Well, I was just trying to have a little fun debate about this. I mean, it's an important issue. I strongly disagree with this idea that you should just confiscate all the money or most of the money that people make and try to get into this class warfare debate. By the way, our tax rates, the fact that we cut taxes is creating jobs. It's helping rebuild our middle class, those very hardworking families. And, once we started getting into this Twitter back and forth, a lot of her followers started making some very inappropriate references and comments. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to have this debate here. I'll have it with you on the House floor.
Oh my God, inappropriate comments on Twitter. Wow. Hey, you know what? I'd like to apologize on behalf of all progressives, Steve Scalise. I didn't know there were inappropriate things going on Twitter. And next thing you know, you tell me that the other parts of the internet also have inappropriate things.
It's weird. I've never heard of people being mean online. Anyway, he elaborates though. I want to go to the next clip.
Everybody knows you were shot, almost killed. Miraculous story that you weren't, thank goodness. And all of a sudden these followers are saying they're gonna snipe you. So you got threats. Did she call you, contact you in any way?
No, I haven't heard from her yet.
And do you think it's inappropriate that she didn't?
Well, I'd like to see her stand up to this. Everybody ought to stand up to this kind of discussion. If somebody wants to have a debate about policy, that's what we're all about. That's what the First Amendment's all about. But you shouldn't threaten people. And if you got to threaten people to make your point, you've already lost.
And when it comes to followers, you could stand up to that.
Yeah, no, you know what? I love the new Scalise rule because it just eliminated the entire right wing online. If you make a threat, you've already lost the battle. Great, all of you pack it up and go home. Because the right wing, apparently Scalise, I don't know if he really genuinely doesn't know because he's new to the internet or if he's pretending not to know. The right wing makes threats nonstop on Twitter.
No, but
nonstop.
Okay, look. I obviously don't agree with the threats that people put out there on Twitter. The reason why I have the reaction that I do to this story is because I'm alive and I experience this every single day. And look, to be fair to Representative Scalise, there is a possibility that he's new to this, right? Because look, I think back to the hearings that lawmakers had with the Google CEO, and the questions that they asked him included, I Googled our attempts to repeal the Affordable Care Act and there were nothing but negative articles written about me. What happened, right? Like they just couldn't believe it, that there were negative comments, articles, whatever out there. So who knows, maybe Representative Scalise falls under that umbrella. But you want Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez to call you and do what? To apologize on behalf of Twitter trolls that are attacking you? What about the Twitter trolls that attack her? What about the right-wing Twitter trolls that are on your side who decided to attack her in the middle of your debate about tax policy? Are you gonna call her and apologize? Is it gonna be an apology fest about randos on Twitter? What's wrong with you guys?
Randos on Twitter. Okay, in which case, I guess we're gonna have an apology tour by the Republicans.
It's crazy.
Every single Republican in the country owes me an apology, owes me a call to, not because they all attacked me, but their followers have all attacked me. So I'd give you my number, but I wouldn't.
No, don't call me, don't apologize. I don't want to hear from you. Again, I live in the year 2019. I understand how social media works. But one final thing I just wanted to quickly add is, look, you've lost the argument when you've immediately gone from actually debating the tax policy to, talking about your experience getting shot. Okay, why did they need to deflect to that, right?
Yeah,
like I feel like it was a crutch and it was incredibly lame to do that.
Yeah, it's the ace in the hole, right? So they're like, It's okay, the economic times were better in the 1950s and 60s when the tax rate was 70 to 91%. On the other hand, I got shot. Okay.
Yeah, it was
now,
weird.
Look, Steve Scalise getting shot was terrible. And we said that on the show a million times. It's part of the gun violence epidemic in this country. We actually want to do something about it. Steve Scalise doesn't. He thinks, oh no, that's great. We should have guns everywhere so that anybody, right wing, left wing, et cetera, can just grab a gun and shoot whoever they don't like. I believe that's slightly worse than what happens on Twitter. Second of all, if you're gonna talk about crazy people on Twitter, just look at MAGA, look at the right wing. It is filled with vitriol.
Look at Trump, look at Trump. I mean, he tweets out videos where he's body slamming CNN. Look at Trump's various speeches. In one speech, he was giving kudos to a lawmaker who body slammed a reporter. Like, you really want to, I mean, you want to talk about people putting threats out on Twitter or putting violent rhetoric out on Twitter? Come on.
Trump calls the press the enemy of the people. Enemy of the people are people you're supposed to attack, right? I mean, but again, if you're talking about randos on Twitter, as Anna put it, the right wing is 1,000 times more guilty. It's not to say that nobody on the left wing does anything bad, but are you kidding me? If we're measuring who's doing worse things and who's doing more threats, and the right wing wins that war by a landslide. Look, we did a random story here. We're like all this talk of death threats, and like Susan Collins was like, oh my God. It turns out people didn't like that I voted on yes on Kavanaugh, and people said mean things about me online. Really, Sherlock, you figured that out. And so because of that, we once did a video, we're like, look, let's just take the first 2 pages of a random video we did on YouTube and see how many death threats there are. There was half a dozen death threats in just the first 2 pages, but comments went on for thousands of other comments. Look at any random video that we've done and you'll find death threat after death threat after death threat. So when these guys are like, somebody said that I was a jerk, why doesn't she apologize to me? Are you kidding me? Look at what the monsters on your side do every single day online. And then please go find a safe space and go cry over there. I'm sorry, her Twitter followers, to be fair, should have given you a little bit of a warning against their microaggressions, because I know you care a lot about that. On the go, don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.